Good morning, LEGO fans, it's Studlord here. Now, a few days ago, I released my magnum opus, the 3-hour buying guide covering every single set released between January and April 2024. But which are the best? Well, today I will give you my top picks, the best set from each theme. Now, best is subjective, and let me know your favourites in the comments, but these are the ones with the greatest playability, display value, or else ideal for collecting or investment. Now, going alphabetically, we will of course start with Animal Crossing, and the favourite one for me, the pick of the crop, has to be Isabelle's house visit. Not only is it the cheapest on a price per piece basis, it also gives as probably the best build, along of course with a couple of decent minifigures. To be fair, all the minifigures from Animal Crossing have been really good, if you like the cartoonish style, which I do. Now, there's no denying that when you put them all together, that is when the main charm of all these sets comes out. It's so much playability, but of course it's quite expensive to get them all. This one is just about the right size to offer the most amount of fun. It's got some really nice detailing on it, and for me is by far and away the best value. So if you're going to get just one set, make it this one. Now, I'm going to gloss over the one set that was in the art theme and head straight on over to Brickheads. If you wonder why, check out the main buying guide video. I'll link to it in the description below. For Brickheads, I'm actually going to come to you with two choices. The first and foremost was Stitch, and to be fair, I said this right from the beginning in my video from closer to the start of the year where I went through the upcoming sets. Now, this one was always going to prove popular. It's such a brilliant little character and wonderfully well done. It's been temporarily out of stock for quite some time, but is now becoming available again in certain regions. Now, in the meantime, demand for it has seen pretty high prices on the secondary market. Going forwards as well, it looks pretty decent from an investment point of view. But more to the point, it's just a fantastic one to collect and a brilliant character. However, my top pick is this one, Potted Groot. Bear in mind that we will be getting the buildable Potted Groot figure coming soon. That one going to be able to dance as well. I assume when you turn a cog, it's going to be really cool. Of course, we had our little Stitch Brickhead before buildable Stitch, and this is another one that I think is just going to prove massively popular. But either way, for me, it's just super cute. It comes as no surprise, perhaps, given as I am a big Guardians fan, hence the whole pun in the channel name. But even having my biases aside, I still think that this is the pick of the bunch. My top pick for the city releases is going to be the Police Prison Island. It's the second most expensive out of the wave released so far this year, but isn't terrible on a per piece price basis, around 9p or 10 cents per piece, but it just gives a great amount of playability. Not only is the building itself cool, there's lots of fun little details, and of course we get the little helicopter, the two boats and the shark, along with a decent array of minifigures. All of this makes for something that not only looks good on display, but it has fantastic play options as well, which I always love in LEGO sets, especially ones from the city line. Now, being a decent size, the price tag isn't actually too bad, and we've already seen it on discounts, quite heavily in fact, in the UK and Europe, and even a small discount available in America. Again, check out my deals of the week's videos if you're interested in picking those up with a bit of a saving. But all that said and done, out of the mass of city set releases that we've had so far this year, this is the one that I recommend you go and grab. Then we come on to the creator lineup, and it's been a strong one. But for me, it has to be the exotic peacock that gets the crown. Not only is this a fantastically low price point, it's just beautifully detailed with some absolutely fantastic pieces in brilliant colours. The peacock is undoubtedly my favourite, but the alternative builds are also super, with a wonderfully, beautifully coloured dragonfly, an equally amazing butterfly. As I mentioned in my in-depth buying guide, this is one that I would quite happily buy 3 copies of, and it's not that unreasonable to consider doing that either at this price point. Okay, £18, $20, same in euros. That's about 5p or 5.5 cents per piece. And seriously, what pieces they are. Not only is this one of my favourite Creator 3-in-1s this year, and my pick of the bunch, it's got to be one of my favourite ones that they've ever done. Yes, it's small, but it's just so pretty. Big thumbs up from me, LEGO. Well done on this one. Now then, for DC and Batman, and this one gets both the best and the worst all in one, because of course it is the only one that we've had released so far this year. But in all seriousness, what an incredible set this is. Yes, the price tag is high, £260, $300, but with 4,210 pieces, this is just an absolutely outstanding Lego set. I know it won't appeal to everybody, obviously if you're not into the whole art idea and naturally not into Batman, this clearly won't be for you. But from the fantastic minifigures that are included, down to all the nitty-gritty little details that they've put in this, for me, I think it's outstanding. Quite frankly, I also think that it bridges the gap between those fans who probably have never liked art before, or maybe even DC or Batman, but this becomes something else. It's just epically cool. Fantastic to have on display, and quite frankly, I cannot wait to get it up on my wall. Now for Disney, and of course it had to be Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Cottage. Now this isn't without its flaws. As I mentioned in my review on this set, there are several things that are irritating. This part of the roof, the fact that it's just literally sat on and not clipped on at all, so it's easy to get knocked off and just destroy things below, that is really quite irritating. The absence of a staircase, things like that. But I've been wanting this set for such a long time. For me, it really didn't disappoint. There were far, far more positives than there were drawbacks. I haven't been shy on covering the drawbacks in past videos, even things like the whole controversy about how closely this matches the ideas submission, even down to the colours used. But putting all of that aside, flawed as it is, I still find it a bit of a masterpiece. For those who also want to have part of the nostalgia of that fantastic animated film, the price isn't bad either. So out of what I have thought a pretty weak Disney lineup so far this year from Lego, this one is definitely the standout star. Now then, on to Dreams, and my pick for this is the Sandman's Tower. Now, this isn't the cheapest at £80 and $90. It doesn't even work out the best on price per piece count. In that respect, there are others that are better than it. However, this one has to be looked at as being the best for play options, okay? If you're going to be giving a kid this as a gift, or any of the Dream sets as a gift, this is the one that is going to give them the most amount of pleasure. Not only that, it comes with some lovely little side builds, and of course a nice minifigure lineup, and a bit like Creator 3-in-1 allows you different options of what you want to build. On top of that, it's pretty sizable as well, and in that respect I don't feel that the overall price is that bad. But of course, the main thing is it as a display piece. It's not just for play this, it looks fantastic. The parts and colours that they've used are little short of beautiful. And in that respect, this set is absolutely fantastic. I'm not a big fan of the Dreams line, but this one really stands out to me. So I would quite happily recommend it. I think it easily deserves #1 spot out of the Dreams line thus far this year. Now it's the turn for the Friends theme, and I promise I'm not trying to choose the most expensive sets, and we will be moving to some cheaper ones very shortly. But whilst this is the most expensive one out of the recent wave, it's undoubtedly the best. Now it's true, other ones such as the Heart Lake City Shopping Mall offer some fantastic playability and beautiful colours, as indeed does the Heart Lake City Hospital, and is at a much more affordable price. However, Andrea's Modern Mansion goes way above these. It brings back some of the old Friends characters, now grown up, along with some of their young children, in an absolutely epic and beautiful build filled with fun features, such as the ultra cool garage forged into the rocks here, which, with a flick of a switch, opens up and springs the car forwards and out. The playability options are absolutely immense here, as well as it looking bleeding brilliant. I don't like a lot of the Friends sets. Some of them can have far too many colours and be quite clashing for me, but this would fit quite nicely in with a city build lineup and is just super cool. The standout feature though is what's hidden in the centre. You see, hidden inside this is an Archimedes screw, working an elevator which you can take up and down, which is just absolutely awesome. And starts to make the price a whole lot more reasonable. Now, a warning, if you are giving this as a gift, it's definitely not one for the younger children. I'd say at least 9+ in order to really enjoy this, because the building experience is that little bit more advanced. And in that respect, it's a fantastic stepping stone towards more advanced modular builds. But as I say, this is just a fantastically beautiful looking set, packed full of fun play features, which not just kids but also adults can quite happily enjoy. In that respect, the £170 or $200 price tag actually makes this a lot more worthwhile, And once again, we've seen discounts on this already, up to around 20% here in the UK, Europe, America and Canada, which I've covered in my previous Deals of the Week videos. So this is one that I suggest you don't miss out on. It's really, really good. Now on to Harry Potter, and my choice is Hagrid's Hut: An Unexpected Visit. It works out the cheapest on a price per piece basis out of all of the waves so far, and while some of those pieces aren't as exciting as, say, the glow-in-the-dark ones that we saw in the Creatures of the Forbidden Forest set, it's still a good looking thing with really nice detailing on the hut and some lovely little minifigures as well. I'm not too keen on Draco Malfoy, but the others are all pretty good, and of course we also get Fang the Boarhound and little baby Norbert the Dragon, which is also super cool. Overall, the set is filled with lovely little details considering its quite small size, and yet it's still big enough to offer a nice little plaything for kids, and of course older fans alike. We've had several versions of Hagrid's Hut in the past, all pretty poor, although the very first one was an okay set, definitely my favourite out of them up until now. This one is certainly a lot better, having a really nice balance between display and play. It's not forecast fantastically for investment, none of them are, I wouldn't recommend it in that respect, but I do really like this new wave that's been released. I think they're going to be quite collectible, and out of them this is definitely the pick of the bunch for me, and the one that I would recommend you go and grab first. Now on to the Icons line, and yes, this choice is going to prove contentious. I am choosing the Natural History Museum, technically released in December of 2023, but it is nonetheless a 2024 set. And what an amazing set it is. It was difficult to put this ahead of the Dune Ornithopter and of course the medieval town square, especially as I am a massive fan of the castle theme even now under the Icons line. But this goes above and beyond them with some absolutely amazing little details which just keep you looking and looking. It's a wonderful modular display, of course, closed up at the back, and does go brilliantly with the boutique hotel and the jazz club. Perhaps it is because I live in England and have been to the Natural History Museum here many times that this really strikes home for me, but I think no matter where you are, you can appreciate just how brilliant this building actually is. It was incredibly enjoyable to build, it looks fantastic on display, and has so many fun little features and Easter eggs hidden in it that it's one of the very best sets of 2024 so far, regardless of theme. So definitely deserving from me of first spot in the Icons line. Now for the Ideas line, and this one was a bit of a difficult pick, but it does have to go to the new D&D set. Big drawback is of course the upfront price, being £315 and $360 or the same in euros, making this around 8.5 pence or 9.5 cents per piece. Not too bad, it's just that overall price point which does make this inaccessible for many. Nonetheless, it has of course proved massively popular already on back order in several regions. And for me, it is a wonderful blend of the medieval theme with fantasy, which I really, really enjoy. Now, whilst there are certain parts of this which are a little bit of a letdown, I preferred certain aspects of it in its initial ideas submission as opposed to the final product, it is nonetheless absolutely amazing. What really sells it for me though, and the thing that has got to grab this #1 spot, is the fact that it can of course be part and parcel of an actual D&D quest. You can use this for a proper game. The big annoying part about that though is that it doesn't actually come with a hard copy of a campaign manual. You can grab one for insider points, certainly at the moment, but come on Lego, at the price it should have been included with the set. Nonetheless, all that said and done, it is still absolutely super. The dragon, whilst certain parts of it I'm not so keen on, such as the head, is nonetheless absolutely amazing looking and one of the best Lego dragons that we have actually seen to date. So all in all, it is one that I can recommend and you should grab. Just brace yourself for the financial hit, but then enjoy all the fun that you can have with this set. Now on to Jurassic World, and we've only had 2 sets released so far this year, but the best one for me has to be the dinosaur fossil skull. I grabbed it on release day, which was perhaps a bit silly because it has already been heavily discounted everywhere since, but I'm not actually sorry that I did, because I just wanted to grab it, get it built and on display as soon as possible, and it does look really, really good. I'm hoping that they continue with this fossil line. We've already had leaks of some of the Jurassic stuff that's coming up, but that's rather different to this. I'd like it if we definitely get more along this line. Just as we had the helmets collection for Star Wars and some of the masks, such as obviously Spider-Man that we've just had, it would be so cool if we got a load of skull fossils of different dinosaurs. At least I think so. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Either way, it's not a bad price point, even at full retail, is a decent size and looks fantastic on display. Now on to Monkey Kid, and I have to apologise because, again, I am choosing the most expensive set. I'm not doing it for the sake of it. This actually is the best of the bunch. The thing is that some of the other Monkey Kid sets, whilst quite fun for play, simply don't have anywhere near the entertainment value that this does, and are actually a lot more expensive on a price per piece basis. This one works out pretty well, especially considering the epic minifigure lineup that we get, and it's such a beautiful display piece as well. I love the different blend of colours, and of course it's pretty sizable too. On top of all of that, regardless of whether you are a young LEGO fan or an AFOL, this gives you hours worth of entertainment. A word specifically for parents though, if you buy some of the smaller sets, they're not exactly cheap. And the thing is that one or two won't really cut it. Kids will get bored with those quickly and they will want more. If you can, and I know that not everybody will be able to, but if you can afford to buy this set, then forget the others, because actually this is going to offer so much more entertainment and such a more educational and informative build experience as well. The other thing is that you can take this apart as it is modular to get access to the different levels and even reconfigure it into a longer sort of street scene. Something which Duck Bricks has done on his channel. He is of course pretty much an expert when it comes to the likes of Monkey Kid and Ninjago, so I recommend you go and check that out for full details on this set. But yeah, if you can afford the higher price tag, £160, $190, it is worth it. It's going to give so much more playability, more educational build experience, just everything all round. And in that respect, it's well deserving of #1 spot for Monkey Kid so far released this year. Now then, on to Ninjago, and my choice is the Dragonstone Shrine. Whilst it holds joint place with the Wolf Shadow Dojo for most expensive set release thus far this year, it actually works out better on a price per piece basis. And again, what pieces they are, this really is a very pretty looking set. The cherry blossom is of course beautiful, as indeed is the waterfall, but all of this has been thought out really well with some very nice little details going on throughout, meaning that this isn't one just for play, but also very nice when on display as well. Of course, it really does all come down to that dragon forged out of the rocks. It's just so impressive looking, and once again with a decent minifigure lineup, the price doesn't become that bad at all. If you do want a cheaper set, then second place would go to our Master Dragon here. And again, do check out my full buying guide for details on all of the different sets released in every theme. But yeah, for first place, it does have to be the Dragonstone Shrine. It's just that mixture of nice playability, admittedly for older kids and of course adults. I don't think that this is going to be one so much for younger children, but it is that mix of playability, good minifigure lineup, and just a really outstanding display piece that makes it my favourite out of the ones for Ninjago. Now on to the choice of the Festive sets, and you'll be pleased to know it is a cheaper one, the Festival Calendar. This is my favourite because not only is it a nice and satisfying little build that looks pretty cool when on display with a lovely range of colours, it's the fact that it is actually so useful that grabs it first spot. It is a calendar and it is perpetual. Because you are given spare parts, you can change the year, not stuck with 2024 forever, but being able to change those numbers continuously. That means that, quite frankly, as long as these bricks last, which should be a very, very long time, this calendar can stay in use and look jolly good while doing it. Whilst the instructions only show you how to make two separate builds, it is actually possible to join them together fairly easily, which I've done a video on just a little short in the past. So if you do that all together, it's a lovely little thing to have on display that has a fantastic use to it as well. For just £27, $30 and €30, I think it's definitely worth it. So I'm happy to say that it gets first spot out of the seasonal themed choices for spring of 2024. Now, I am going to skip over Sonic, as of the two thus far released, there's no clear winner. See my in-depth guide for details on that, link in the description below as mentioned before. For now though, it is Speed Champions. As I mentioned in my full video, this is a pretty strong lineup all round so far, but my number one choice does need to go to this. The McLaren Formula 1 race car. Quite frankly, I think that it is the best Formula 1 car that LEGO have done so far. The shaping and colours here are just absolutely fantastic. And of course, as can be said in fairness for all of the Speed Champions line, it's just so much fun to play with. So I think it is that combination of excellent play along with just fantastic looks that gets this one number one spot for me. Now, because of some of these specialized pieces, it is a lower piece count for the price, meaning that it is more expensive on a price per piece count than some of the others. In that respect, I think that my second spot would have to go to the Ford Mustang. But this is all about number ones. So if you do want my advice on which one to go out and buy, it would definitely be this one. Now then, for Star Wars, and I can feel the keyboard warriors clicking their fingers already, getting themselves psyched up to vent their anger at my choice of the Invisible Hand, because of course I know that it has split opinions. For me though, I think that out of the entirety of this recent Starship collection that we've just been given, this is actually the best value for money. I don't think it's overpriced at all, and if you watch my in-depth buying guide, you will know that I am not shy on calling LEGO out for when sets are even slightly overpriced or, as is quite often the case, disgustingly so. But this is not the case with this one. £47, $50, 53 euros isn't bad for this at all. Not only do I think that it looks really good, it's the fact that it actually splits in two, which is just such a wonderful play feature as well, and something that I'm really pleased that they actually included. Whilst it isn't completely perfect, none of the new midi-scale starships are. I think the Millennium Falcon would have to grab number second spot for me, but the Invisible Hand at this lower price point and yet still great detailing and excellent playability does get that number one spot. The fact that it's also more accessible price-wise as well for more people makes it quite easy for me to say, go out and buy this one. I don't think that when you've got it in person, you'll be disappointed. Now then, for Super Mario, and it's been a pretty paltry lineup so far for 2024. I did even mention, because of that, in my buying guide video, the upcoming ones for August, as otherwise it is very light on the ground. But of our spring 2024 releases, the standout star is of course Bowser's Muscle Car. The fact that we are going to be getting some Mario Kart sex next year?
Yes, that's what you said. I did hear you. That's why I'm smiling.
No, some Mario Kart sets next year. That's going to be very good. And of course, whilst this is, yes, under Super Mario, I imagine that LEGO had a few chuckles when they were putting this out. It's more than a nod and a wink towards that. With a cool figure and an equally cool car, I think that this is not a bad price point and definitely one that should be picked up. I'm not a big fan, to be honest, when it comes to the Super Mario sets. Not many of them do it for me, but this one definitely does. And now for the last of the themes with releases this year, it is Technic, and I've chosen our heavy cargo spaceship here for number one spot. It was a very difficult choice. There have been some frankly phenomenal sets released by Technic so far in 2024. It really is hard to choose. But this one isn't the most expensive, which makes it far more accessible to many more people, and is a very sizable build. It's going to look fantastic on display, and of course, much more interesting for play. Really enjoyable and swooshable. I love the fact that you can rotate the engines around, obviously between hovering and flight. The little rover build that comes out of it as well is awesome. I just really enjoy Technic sets with the way that they do challenge the build experience more. This is certainly going to be more educational, more fulfilling to have come together. Brilliant on display, fantastic for play, with all of these cool features, the landing gear which can come out, yes, those engines which turn, the sort of hook here that comes down to pick up the cargo. It's just so much going on. I think that it's absolutely brilliant. Now, there is definitely an argument to be had for several of the other Technic sets. As I say, it's been a really strong start to the year. But for me, this just grabbed the sweet spot. It's the right price, £90, €100, $110. Even in America, that's only about 8 cents per piece. It works out very favourably. And considering the huge amount of focus that LEGO has had on space this year, I think that this blows pretty much everything else out of the water. Or probably the skies, I should say. It's also not bad as an investment, forecast already to increase by around 40% within 3 years post-retirement. Now, yes, it is early days for that, so do take it with a pinch of salt. It can always change, but quite frankly, I'm not surprised. I think this is a really well-priced set, fantastically thought out, wonderfully designed, and I really won't be surprised if it does become quite sought after years down the line. So for me, very well deserving of #1 spot out of our Technic releases so far. But those are my top picks for all the themes released from January to April. If you want to know in detail about all the other sets, do check out that main buying guide video. I will link to that in the description below. In the meantime, it just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe, like, comment below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.